The following Far Harbor review is brought to you by G2A.com. Check out the link down below for cheap games. Salutations, my Fallout lovers. It is Matty here today with my review for the Far Harbor DLC for Fallout 4. With Automatron kind of being a hit or miss DLC and Wasteland Workshop really not impressing anybody, it seemed like all the weight was resting on Far Harbor's shoulders on whether or not a lot of Fallout fans would be sticking with Fallout 4 for the rest of the year, or if they'd just be leaving it behind and moving on to new games. And I'm happy to say that I had a very positive experience with Far Harbor, and it was the DLC we were looking for, and it is in fact worth the wait. It is not a DLC that will blow your socks off, but it's a lot more of what we love about Fallout, but with some well-needed adjustments that were missing in the base game, and shows that Bethesda is in fact listening to the community and willing to make improvements in certain aspects of Fallout 4 that they kind of messed up with in the base game. So before I get into any of my opinions on the DLC, I do want to answer one question. It's yes, you can bring your companions into Far Harbor, whichever one you want to. Anyway, let's start off with the first improvement I noticed right off the bat, which is the improvements to the dialogue. This carried over from Automatron. I made note of it, that you noticed some of the lines that you could select were longer in Automatron. I noticed that they were giving more choice in that, but I was wondering if that would carry over into Far Harbor, and it absolutely does, between asking people more questions, giving NPCs around you more context where you can just talk to random people and they have their own backstories and you can ask them multiple questions. It's stuff like this that was in previous Bethesda games and Fallout games in general that was kind of missing in Fallout 4, and it's nice to know that they're taking that into account. I can actually lie to people now, which I don't think I ever saw once in Fallout 4. I'm probably wrong on that, but for me personally, I don't remember ever lying, and that's something that's actually in Far Harbor. You can use your special skills to sometimes get through quests where if you have like Intelligence 7, you can do something. It's stuff like this that's kind of a return to form. This is the role playing that we really wanted in Fallout 4, and although it's on a much smaller scale with a DLC like Far Harbor, it still shows that they're listening and willing to improve. A lot of quests have choice, kind of the good or bad, sometimes a neutral choice, and sometimes in the middle of the quest, it turns a little more interesting when a choice is thrown in there out of complete nowhere. That's not to say that Far Harbor is perfect and fixes all of Fallout 4's issues. If you still don't like the dialogue system or anything like that in Fallout 4, then it's not really going to change anything, but they do give a lot more options in conversations where you can kind of go into like a press Y to ask questions, and then you'll have like a tree of questions that you can go ahead and ask them. But it still also features a lot of areas that you kind of just go into, kill everything, kind of take the loot, similar to a lot of areas in Fallout 4. So like I said, it doesn't change the entire formula to Fallout 4, but it improves in certain areas that I think hardcore fans will definitely appreciate. Also, I just have to say this as a little side note and keep you guys aware that Far Harbor features easily one of the best vaults in the Fallout universe I have ever experienced. I've played all the Fallout games, gone through all the vaults, and Far Harbor features one of the best ones. Just keep your eye out for Vault 118. I'm telling you, it is a damn good one. But enough dilly-dallying. How about the main story for Far Harbor? How did that fare? Well, it kind of went exactly how I expected. I really didn't care about the reason I got there, which was save this daughter or whatever's going on here, and it ended up being a much grander conflict in Far Harbor between the people there, the synths, as well as the children of Adam. And the main story does once again throw a lot of choices your way. I'd give more context to how things go, but to tell you the truth, I don't want to ruin anything for anyone. My reviews are always spoiler free, but just know that there is a good degree of choice in the main story. It's decent, to say the least. It's interesting. There's a lot of stuff there. It gives you a lot of more moral decisions in this DLC than I think I ever had to make in Fallout 4, which says something. I really kind of had to think about a lot of things before I made my decision, which I really didn't do in Fallout 4. It also actually made me start to feel for synths, which is something kind of weird to say considering that Fallout 4 was based around synths, and I really didn't feel for them in the game. But in Far Harbor, they present a lot of interesting situations and perspectives that kind of make you think, huh, if I was in their shoes, how would I feel about this? And it's really interesting. It brings a lot of moral decisions into account. This is also a much more difficult DLC. Now, I say this often, but I do play on the very hard difficulty to give myself a bit of a challenge considering that my character is a higher level. But this DLC is really tough, man. I gotta be honest. Some of the mutants here, such as the fog crawlers, the anglers, they are tough as nails. They will just run you over, kill you fast. They send lots of enemies your way. It is definitely one of the harder DLC. So be sure to bring some of your best equipment. And speaking of equipment, that's one thing that I really did appreciate about in this DLC, is that there is a lot of unique weapons and items, which is obviously awesome for my channel, but awesome for the people out there who like to collect them, such as myself. I remember falling in love with collecting unique weapons and armor in Oblivion, and just since then, it's been one of my favorite things to do in a Bethesda game, and they finally put a real highlight on it. Almost like every area has something unique to find in there, and it's much different from the base weapon in the game, which is always relieving to see. I also want to mention something about the location that I didn't really expect, and it's just how refreshing it really was when you kind of take into account that Fallout 4 was a lot like Fallout 3, and I don't think that was to any type of downfall whatsoever, but Fallout 4 definitely felt very familiar, and obviously we were stuck in the Commonwealth with 2 DLCs, so nothing was really changing. But when you go to Far Harbor, it's just a really good feeling. It's obviously slightly familiar due to Point Lookout, I don't deny that, but there's just something about it that's so different. I think it's the thick fog. It's almost never light there, but when it is light and vibrant, it's almost like a fresh breath of air because it's only in certain parts of the island. But the aesthetic, the atmosphere, it's very refreshing to see something different aside from what we've seen in 2 other Fallout games. And by that I mean it was always the Americana themed landmarks, all that stuff, and Far Harbor was a good change of pace using different things to kind of push its atmosphere forward. Far Harbor also features a brand new companion by the name of Old Longfellow, and he is quite interesting contrary to my original belief. Not the most amazing companion ever, but he is well thought out, which is refreshing given the fact that in Automatron, characters like Ada and Jezebel, they really aren't even companions, to tell you the truth. They have like no background or anything whatsoever, so it's kind of refreshing to see things change up a little bit. At the end of the day though, my verdict for this DLC is that it's exactly what we wanted as Fallout fans. We've all been saying for a long while now that we just want to go somewhere new, and it's really awesome to see that Far Harbor does it just right, gives us plenty to explore. I can easily say that you can get about 20 to 30 hours out of this DLC, if not more, which is fantastic. It features a pretty decent story. It improves on aspects in Fallout 4, showing that Bethesda is listening, which is always fantastic. Tons of things to collect, lots of secrets out there, and just overall a great piece of DLC that I think all Fallout fans are really going to enjoy. And so yeah, that will wrap up my review for Fallout 4's Far Harbor DLC. We don't know when the next piece of DLC is coming. I imagine that Wave 2 of the DLC will be announced around E3, maybe beforehand, if not at E3 definitely. So yeah, be sure to stay tuned for more Fallout 4 content as time goes on. We still have the rest of the year and maybe even into 2017 for more Fallout content, so I hope you guys are all looking forward to more of that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave your thoughts on Far Harbor in the comments down below. Follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. The links are in the description down below. Check out SugarBomb.com, the place by Bethesda fans for Bethesda fans. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.